It started on one of those quiet evenings where the house feels too big and the air feels too heavy. My wife sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, eyes glued to her phone. The TV played softly in the background. News, weather, something forgettable. I stood in the doorway for a long moment, the way husbands do when they're trying to gather the courage to ask for something simple that suddenly feels impossible. "You coming to bed?" I asked. She didn't look up, didn't blink, didn't move. "I'm exhausted," she murmured. Again, 2 words, soft, tired, and sharp enough to cut through whatever was left of my pride. I nodded like I always did, like a man who had gotten used to being dismissed gently, like someone who kept pretending it didn't sting every single time. Later, I lay in bed alone, staring at the ceiling fan turning in slow circles. I could hear the faint tapping of her fingers on her phone screen downstairs. The distance between us felt bigger than the house, bigger than the years we'd spent trying, bigger than the promises we once whispered on warm summer nights. If you're older, if you've been married a long time, you know this kind of silence. It doesn't come loud. It comes quietly, slowly, almost politely, but it comes. The next morning, her best friend Lisa stopped by. She always came early, long before my wife finished getting ready for work. Lisa was bright, talkative, the type of woman who seemed to bring energy with her, like she carried sunshine in her purse. She hugged my wife, made her laugh within seconds, and I watched that laugh the way a man watches a memory he misses. I used to be the one who made her laugh like that, before life stiffened her shoulders and exhaustion became her every answer. When my wife left for her shift, Lisa stayed behind, just like she often did on her days off. She said she liked to keep the house company, but I always suspected she stayed because she sensed something was breaking. I was making coffee when she walked into the kitchen. She said, "I'm exhausted again?" she asked. No hesitation, no sugarcoating. I froze. It was the kind of question you only ask when you already know the answer. "How'd you know?" I managed. Lisa leaned against the counter, crossing her arms. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't teasing. She was watching me closely, the way you watch someone who's been carrying too much for too long. "Because I see it in your face," she said. "The tiredness, the waiting, the hurt." Older folks in America, retired couples, long married partners, they know this look. It shows up in grocery stores, doctors' offices, church parking lots. A certain heaviness, a certain loneliness in someone who's technically not alone. I tried to brush it off. "She's stressed," I said. "She needs rest. I get it." Lisa shook her head slowly. "Rest is one thing," she whispered. "Pushing someone away? That's something else." Her words hit harder than I expected. We cleaned the kitchen together. Not much was said, just the quiet clinks of plates, the warm smell of coffee, the soft light coming through the curtains. These little domestic moments, older couples always talk about them, how sometimes the simple things hurt the most. When we finished, I leaned against the counter, tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. Lisa stepped a little closer, not too close, but close enough that I felt it. "She doesn't see you anymore, does she?" she said. "Not the way she used to." I didn't answer, but she kept going, voice softer, almost a whisper. "Do you know how long I've watched you try?" she asked. "How long I've seen you stay patient, gentle, quiet." Hoping she'd notice, her eyes glistened a little, not with romance, no, with concern, with the kind of worry only someone who truly cares will show. "You deserve more than being told I'm exhausted every night," she said. "You deserve someone who's awake to you." I swallowed hard, something in my chest tightened, and then she said it, the line that would echo through my head for weeks afterward. "I'm wide awake." It wasn't flirtation, it wasn't temptation, it wasn't some dramatic confession, like in those TV movies older folks watch on Hallmark late at night. It was honesty, raw, uncomfortable honesty. Lisa wasn't stepping in to steal anything. She wasn't trying to start anything. She was simply saying the truth no one else had the courage to say out loud. She saw me. She saw what I'd been carrying. She saw what I'd been losing, abusing. She saw the part of me my wife hadn't looked at in a long time. She stepped back immediately afterward, almost shaking her head at herself. "Forget I said that," she murmured. "I'm just worried about you. That's all." But those words stayed, not because they were forbidden, but because they were the first words in months that made me feel human, seen, worthy. That night, my wife didn't ask how I was, didn't notice I was quiet, didn't notice anything at all. She simply said, "I'm exhausted," and turned away. But something inside me didn't break this time. Something inside me woke up. In the following days, I didn't pursue anything with Lisa. She didn't try anything either. If anything, we both stepped back, giving each other careful distance, but her words had already done their work. I'm wide awake. They were a mirror, a warning, a reminder that neglect, quiet, polite neglect, can destroy even the longest marriages. My wife and I eventually talked, really talked, hard conversations, tears, honesty, counseling, the kind of work older couples always say they should have done earlier. We're trying now, trying slow, trying carefully. But some nights, when the house is quiet and she finally rests her head on my shoulder, I still hear Lisa's voice in the back of my mind, not as a temptation, but as the truth that saved me from disappearing. Someone out there is wide awake, even when the person you love has fallen asleep on you.